net. I've kept them out. Yeah. And I've scored a few goals as well. Yeah. So that I've willed somebody to do something, and I've done it.
The 1966 League Championship was Liverpool's last trophy for 7 years. Shankly stayed loyal to an ageing group of players, and the club paid the price.
It was only after the Watford debacle, when Watford, from the depths of the second division, knocked them out of the FA Cup, that Shankly realised this team had to be broken up. But Bob Paisley reckoned he should really have been more ruthless and done it a bit earlier, because the players were getting past their best.
Finally, Shankly set about rebuilding. Out went the likes of Yates, Hunt and St John. In came John Toshak, Ray Clements, and a young Liverpudlian, 17-year-old Phil Thompson.
You were in awe of the man, absolutely in awe. But to meet him was just as thrilling. You know, you just listen to that voice. You know, there was just something special about it. You know, signing for Liverpool at the age of 15, apprenticeship till 17, you know, that was just fantastic. For me, 2 years doing that, I'd have died happy.
It wasn't about money, it was about playing for Liverpool Football Club, and how much he knew about Liverpool Football Club. Before we even sat down for a contract, he made sure he took me around everywhere around Anfield, took me down to the training ground, showed me the training facilities, just to impress on me how good this football club was and how great it could be.
It was ready to become a powerhouse, because Shanks had everybody believing in it. Shanks was one of those characters to the press and everybody else that he was making, and he was drumming it into pressmen how good we were.
We went to the 71 Cup final in the first instance. That was the first sight of glory we'd had with the new side. But probably it was just a little bit early for us. We had a lot of young players in there who Shanks has brought in to make his new team as such. And but we gained confidence from actually being a young team and getting to that cup final, and it just built from there.
After losing the FA Cup final to Arsenal, Shankly stood on the steps of St George's Hall with this incredible crowd. He said, "Yesterday we lost the battle, but we did not lose the war."
Since I come here to Liverpool and to Anfield, I've drummed it into our players time and again that they are privileged to play for you. And if they didn't believe me, they believe me now.
And Peter Robinson, who was a very urbane, efficient General Secretary of Liverpool, said if he had told them at that moment to storm through the Mersey Tunnel and sack Birkenhead, they'd have done it. He had them utterly under his command and control. They would have done anything.
Natural enthusiasm, that's the whole thing. It's the greatest thing in the world, natural enthusiasm. Yeah. You're nothing without it.
Shankly's new team needed a star, and Kevin Keegan from Scunthorpe fitted the mould. Keegan's partnership with Toshak flourished, as did the style of play. Having just missed out on the league title in 1972, the following year saw the trophy return to Anfield for the first time in 7 years.
You say the Dutch gave total football, you know, to the world. I think Liverpool FC, certainly we did at that time. We used to be passing it at the ball about. Nobody could get a kick.
73 was just the start of an era that, you know, turned trophy after trophy after trophy. And, you know, once you start winning, it's a lovely feeling and you get used to it.
Last Saturday was the greatest of all of them. Winning it early on was a novelty. But last Saturday, because it was a new team, and we had worked so hard for so long and got pipped last season, and pipped the season before in the cup final, that we had gone again for the third time. With far more satisfaction, and definitely the greatest moment I had in football.
It was the beginning of one of the longest periods of success ever seen in English football. Europe was yet to be conquered, but in 1973 Liverpool faced Borussia Mönchengladbach in the UEFA Cup final. Anfield revelled in one of its greatest European nights.
We won the game quite comfortably, 3-0, and But having said that, with probably about 15 minutes to go, something like that, Stevie Highway came back to defend, but he pulled down one of the Borussia Mönchengladbach players, and obviously a penalty was given. Jupp Heynckes, the German striker, took it, and I managed to save it.
That penalty save proved crucial. Liverpool fell behind at 2-0 in the second leg. But the Reds held on, and Bill Shankly had achieved his dream to become the first Liverpool manager to win a European trophy.
He wasn't a champagne drinker or anything like that. He stood in the dressing room with his cup of tea and said, "Well done" to everybody, and that's the way he was.
A year later, Liverpool were back at Wembley for Shankly's third FA Cup final. Standing in their way were Newcastle United and their danger man, striker Malcolm McDonald.
Malcolm McDonald, the Newcastle centre-forward, was in the papers virtually every day saying what he was going to do and what Newcastle were going to do to us.
He was shouting the odds of what he was going to do and how he was going to sort of tear Liverpool apart, particularly Edmund Hughes and Phil Thompson.
Of course, Shank's team talk beforehand is, "I don't really need to speak, you've seen the papers, let's just go out and prove them wrong." And we put on the most complete FA Cup final performance for many years.
2 goals from Keegan and 1 from Steve Highway meant a comprehensive 3-0 win for Liverpool. And another Wembley fairy tale. Shankly had now won 3 league titles, 2 FA Cups and a UEFA Cup. He had also built a young, hungry team desperate for success. The future looked bright for Liverpool. But just 2 months after that Wembley triumph, the club was rocked to its very core.
It is with great regret that Mr. Shankly has intimated that he wishes to retire from active participation in league football.
I couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe it.
It was like mourning. You thought you had died, I'll tell you. You know, the supporters couldn't believe it.
I swear it's the truth. Honestly, I'm not joking, really.
What's happened to son? Nah, I don't believe that.
Oh, you're going to have me crying.
You're having me on, aren't you?
No, I'm not having you. I've just been to Anfield, honest.
You said?
There'd been no indication in that year that there was anything that was wrong and any reason why he'd want to pack in.
It was exciting times ahead, and you've gone like that. It was an absolute bombshell.
Liverpool had a ready-made replacement, but even Bob Paisley urged Shankly to reconsider.
It's all very, very sad, really. See, Bob Paisley said to him, "Look, Bill, I don't want this job. Go on a cruise. Take Nessie on a cruise. Take as long as you like and come back and pick up I'll run it while you're away." "No, I'm going, Bob. That's it. When I take a decision, I take it. You get guided by your conscience and all this stuff, you see. But it's like walking to the electric chair, but once you've taken that decision and all this sort of beautiful Shankly language, but in the end, he regretted it. I'm sure he did.
Shankly couldn't stay away. He would turn up to training, upsetting Paisley, whose players kept calling Shankly boss. It was a difficult time.
He needed football for starters. He used to go to Wrexham, he'd go to the Everton training ground and play table tennis with Sid McGuinness, the groundsman. I think he realised very soon it was a drug, and he could not do without the drug of football.
Under Paisley, Liverpool went on to enjoy a level of dominance never before seen in the English game. His predecessor gradually withdrew from public life, and in September 1981, just 7 years after his resignation, Bill Shankly suffered a fatal heart attack. His final wish? That his ashes would be scattered over his beloved Anfield.
At the Kop end, in the net, behind the goals, there's a casket, a foot down, and all the rest of the ground around the Kop end's all sprayed with ashes. So the place is it's a shrine, really. It's a sacred place.
Success can be measured in many ways. Bill Shankly may not have won as many trophies as some managers, but his legacy is huge. In 1982, the Shankly Gates were opened outside Anfield by Bill's widow, Nessie, a permanent tribute to the man who'd done so much for the club. The bond between Bill Shankly and the Kop was unique, and in 1994, when English football moved to all-seater stadia, Liverpool figures past and present were on hand to say goodbye to the famous Old Terrace. But the fans' loudest cheers were for one man.
We used to go down to London by train in those days, and we'd travel back, and there'd always be Liverpool fans on there, and there'd always be one or two that would try and nick on the train for nothing, and would get caught by the ticket master as we were coming off. And I've seen on a couple of occasions when Shankly has actually paid their fare because he respected that they wanted to be there with Liverpool's game in London.
He used to tell the players, you are playing for the people who come through the turnstiles. They're the people who matter. But if you give them what they want, you'll be the heroes.
The supporters were everything for him. The Liverpool supporters were everything.
He lit the fire. There's no question about that.
I still drum it into my kids now of what he meant to Liverpool and how he started from nothing.
He built the foundations for that fantastic football club without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm a big supporter of that, and I walked with them Shankly gates, and I think, that man, what this club is today, he started it all off. And it needed somebody like Bill Shankly to do that.
I'm just one of the people that stands in the cup. They think the same as I do, and I think the same as they do. So that there was a kind of marriage of people that liked each other.